to. Perhaps it's part of post-human philosophy, as it should. There are lots of good things about it. I just find that it's romantic in its excess and its styles, but that's it's a personal. I would very much want to know what kind of humans is going to get to the other side. We haven't gone through the Matrix yet. We're not through that, and that's part of my job is to find out what kind of humans we are going to become. And I'm not very good at it, but I'm certainly keeping at it.
But how the digital nets influenced this sustainability, now?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's a race between the destructive forces are destroying the planet. They really are. We have evidence for that. And they belong to a previous era where there was action without reaction. It's the behemoth of a very strong and not unchecked industrial growth, right? But then now extended into chemical industries and all kinds of stuff that create a lot of problems. It's clearly the petrol, the petrol world, which is what we have the last behemoth experience was one of the Bush's regime. These are the force of destruction. The internet, which also helped that, but does much more than that, is putting together a perception of the planet which is in fact unified. Hence, helping people to break down, right? That's what they want to do. But it is a race because, boy, it's unbelievable how much time and trust we have lost for 8 years under Mr. Bush. Worldwide, I'm talking worldwide. I'm not always coming back at him for no good reason. We have lost 8 years, and we have let lots of cancers run into the various aspects of the social body. Bad news. So now we have to recover.
But it's related to what we were talking about, that loss of trust people have in Canada to the...
Yes, I know.
Because people start to see these troubles and this global concept we have nowadays. We were not caring about what was happening in Africa if things were fine in Canada before the media.
Exactly.
Nowadays
it's true. Now we do care. And I think, for example, what has happened here, the fact that Iran suddenly becomes a global player in everybody's sensibility because twittering people have said, no, there's a fraud in the elections and look how horrible people are treating us. That kind of thing is entirely due to that lateral communication that we see in this Twitter-tagged environment. We're back into the perfect example of the case. And that's part of the healing process that I'm talking about. And maybe homeopathy is enough for that. That's what I'm saying about the general body, the skin of culture, the whole aspect of what we are about. And but I am certainly among the people who are trying to be very positive about the thing. It's not that, but that doesn't mean I ignore the negatives. It's that if we need thinking the way out. We need thinking. Not just, inventing, but thinking, maybe inventing, but we need thinking. I think a lot now that the future belongs to attitude. The attitude will decide of our future. Because we can do everything we want. That fundamentally we can feed the world. Fundamentally we can pacify. We can stop the arms race. We can do everything. We can stop using inexhaustible resources. We can do everything we want. And we very soon will be able to do everything we want, even individually, in a very strong fashion. So why not? Why not then, if we can do everything we want, then what is it that we want? But, what is it that we, where could we have it? Yeah.
Yes. It's an interesting thing that in Iran, because McLuhan always said about the power of heating, of cooling a society that the media always had. Yes. And in Iran, the internet became a heating.
I don't know if heating is cooling. Media. That's a good question.
Yeah.
I know it's a very good question in terms of what McLuhan said. I have to say that I don't feel as an expert at all on that issue because I never totally believed it of McLuhan, nor did I believe totally the laws of the media. I thought they were too fuzzy. Both things were too fuzzy notions for it to be nice and solid in like Cartesian ways.
Well, in some countries, I believe here in Brazil, it's cooling, a way of cooling the society. You know, there is these things, but
I think it's cool. I think the internet is cool. It's cool.
But
even in the way people talk about it.
Yeah, but it's strange because it has so much information that you can access, but it depends so much on you to get this information. That's the paradoxal thing.
It does, but then yes, so that you're putting the input. So but it also, what's hot about the internet is its capacity, but it's still cool, of producing something new every decade, every 2 or 3 years. I think we have something basically new, like the blogs and then the Twitter and all that, and then the social networks. It keeps our attention. It's never old. The network is never old hat. It's cool. It's still cool, even though we now all have gone through a generation of it and more.
But would it be possible in Iran to have this kind of political mobilization without the internet? Do you think
it would be impossible? That was a very cool thing to do. I do not think that Obama could have been elected without Facebook, Twitter, and I think he would have probably done very, very well. But between that and being elected, there's a huge step, and I think that step was taken by. There's a huge gap, and the gap was bridged by these media. I'm sure. It's very, very, and it's funny because it makes Wired magazine a wiser magazine than people think it is. Because I think back in 2004, as Bush was being re-elected on the 4th of November, was it the 4th of November or something like that? Around that date, anyway. It's always the same date in the United States, which is an interesting thing. The Wired magazine of that, the Wired magazine of that month said the future president of the United States would be elected by the internet. Not bad. It was a hopeful thinking, that too, wishful thinking, but it did happen. So, yeah, it's a very cool thing.